My name is Tara, and I was diagnosed with brain cancer when I was 27 years old. Prior to my diagnosis, tough conversations about death and dying were not on my radar. That topic was for older or more fragile groups of people that I just simply could not relate to. But that all changed when my doctor found a lesion in my right frontal lobe. From the moment I began filling out pre-surgery paperwork about advanced directives to receiving that life-changing call telling me I had a type of incurable cancer, I felt smacked in the face by an inevitable fact of life that is poorly spoken about or prepared for. Over time, I developed a desire to have really tough conversations with my family so that I could share my experience and thoughts with them and feel less alone on this journey that was full of uncertainty. And at first, this was quite challenging for my family, especially for my mother, because her initial reaction to tough conversations usually entailed telling me to not focus on the negative and to hope and pray for a miracle. But one of the things that has been really helpful for me and my family to be able to get past these initial and limiting interactions and really have these tough conversations was the realization that this topic was not something unique and exclusive to me and people like me, but rather a conversation we all should be having, regardless of age, health, or conditions. The way things are right now in our society makes death and dying very frightening because the only time people get asked about their wishes and end-of-life care is when death seems to be looming directly over them. So not only are we challenged with processing the end of life, but we're also having to think about tough questions that have been exclusively reserved for those who are perceived to be closer to death than others. But the reality is that none of us live forever, and even though some people may seem to have better odds than others, tomorrow is not guaranteed to anyone. So with that realization, I began advocating for my entire family to have these conversations and revisit them regularly, like the batteries in our smoke detectors, so that when the time comes, we are each able to revisit these questions as familiar concepts, opposed to completely foreign and devastatingly unbelievable circumstances. I know this is easier said than done. There are very real emotional and social challenges associated with this topic, and not everyone sees it the way I see it. And I probably only see it this way because it took me having a diagnosis to think about it and prioritize it. But regardless, I've become so empowered by this idea that there are still things out there that I have a choice over, that if nothing else, I hope to leave you with an additional perspective to consider for your own circumstances. If you happen to be a relatively healthy person, statistics should provide you with confidence that you're not likely to be diagnosed with brain cancer or be hit by a bus on a random day. So without causing paranoia about death, I hope this message can begin to open a door for each of you to have those tough conversations about your future wishes regarding being comforted, supported, treated, and remembered when the time arises. And for those of you in similar health situations like mine, where the clock seems to be ticking louder than ever before, you are not giving up hope by talking about this. You're simply ensuring that your wishes regarding the eventually inevitable circumstance that everyone will face are communicated and respected. I've found great strength in focusing on how I perceive what I cannot change, and I hope that you can find strength in that as well. So please consider offering the gift of these conversations to your entire family and begin transforming your perspective on death and dying into one that defines it as an inevitable fact of life that can, in fact, be very well spoken about and prepared for.